At soldiers, I'm greasy, I'm sleepy, and somebody on Facebook Marketplace was mean to me today, so I am in a mood. And this honey lemon tea absolutely does not have whiskey in it. Also filming in a slightly new place today. I rearranged my living room the other day. I swear for fun, not because I'm having a crisis. I realize that most of my skin is covered, and you can't tell that I do in fact have tattoos. Photo evidence, video evidence. Oh wow, yep, sure am. Here we go. We got tattoos, people. And with having a lot of tattoos, it means I get a lot of tattoo questions. So I asked on my Instagram the other day, which is AModelWho'sRead, linked below if you don't follow me already. I don't get sponsors very often on this channel, okay? You're gonna have to indulge me in a little self-promo. I asked on my Instagram for you to send me your burning questions related to tattoos in general. And with the amount of questions I got, thank you for everybody that submitted a question, I found there was 4 sort of categories. First up, I'm gonna do rapid fire or more simple questions or stuff I've already gone over in a lot of my other tattoo videos. Number 2 is advice, just straight up advice. Number 3 is more personal questions, like related to my specific tattoos. There may be some overlap between the advice and the personal category, but I like making lists, okay? Just let me have this. And number 4, I'm affectionately calling silly goose moments. You know who you are. So without further ado, grab a drink, grab a snack, and buckle in as we go over the tattoo A's of your tattoo Q's. Okay, hold on, my girlfriend's texting me. We're gonna decorate a Christmas tree together this weekend. I know, gag, right? Ew, romance. So, rapid fire, let's go. What was my first tattoo? It was... this one. It's my fantasy ambergram. If you look at it this way, it says fantasy. If you look at it this way, it says reality. There's a better clip on my tattoo tour video. Trust me, just go watch that. What was your longest session? I've had some tattoos that take 2 sessions, so if we're gonna go in like one day, one go, one shot, probably my Blackberry half sleeve, because that was 6 hours. What happens if you run out of space? Start getting stuff removed. Next, how bad were the front of your legs? For those of you that don't know, I have 2 shin tattoos. The left was worse than the right. So, but overall, not horrible. And then I got a couple that were like, what tattoo hurt the most, or like, what placement hurt the most. Absolutely, it was my cover-up tattoo that I had on my leg. Because, well, yes, getting tattooed over like straight bone hurts like a bitch. If you actually go and you look up the science of getting a cover-up tattoo, you know, science, but that is also because of a number of factors. Like, my tattoo that I was getting covered was really dark, it was pretty new, it was pretty big. So yeah, I'm gonna probably try not to do that again, she says, knowing that she's trying to book a consultation for another cover-up tattoo in a couple of months. What is your biggest tattoo you have? If we're going by, like, sleeves, I'd say probably my whole rose sleeve, even though this was done in 3 parts. If we're going, again, one shot, it's gonna be my thigh moth, my thigh Luna moth, Calliope. Have you ever thought about getting tattoos when you travel? Yes, I actually already have one. I have my Nessie tattoo right there from when I was in Scotland. And lastly, for rapid fire, if I could change the location of one of my tattoos, which one would it be? I would change the location of my sword tattoo. I know I've said this in a couple of times. Oh my god. I didn't even take the right arm out of my sleeve. Oh my god. She is beauty, she is grace. This sword of mine, I love it. It's one of my favorite tattoos, but it's on a part of my body that bends. So if I could have that one redone, I would put that on a flatter part of my body that does not have so many curves. Who knew my arms were so curvaceous? Not 24-year-old me. Second category is general advice. Starting with, what is tattoo advice that you learned the hard way? Make sure you have a snack, god damn it. And especially if it's over 2 hours, bring multiple snacks. Bring a packed lunch, okay? When it comes to tattoos, I am not somebody that likes taking breaks. I want to just get it all done. I want to go it in one shot, and you can't do that if your body is running on empty. You're basically getting actively wounded for however long it takes for the tattoo to be done. So it really helps to like have some water on hand and have a snack so that you're not also shaky or have low blood sugar when you're getting stabbed repeatedly for a couple of hours. This is one of my favorites. It's tips for coming up with bookish tattoo ideas that aren't obvious. I mean, first of all, who cares? Life is short. It's your body. You can be as obvious or not obvious as you want. You can freaking get the cover of Catcher in the Rye tattooed all over your face. Might give you some problems at, like, the grocery store or, like, TSA. But, like, you know, I don't really see a lot of really obvious book tattoos because I feel like bookworms we're literary, right? We love motifs, we love themes, we love quotes, and that's kind of what to do to get a non-obvious book tattoo. My sword tattoo is from The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, because the motif that the book gives you is a key, a bee, and a sword, so I have a sword with a keyhole and a bee on it. I also have As Travars written on my ankle, which is an homage to A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, because that is something that the main character, who is a dimension-hopping magician, says before he travels dimensions. And I also have a quote on my arm that is "Be afraid and happy," which is from the Raven Boys. So that's a quote directly from the book. I suppose if you're talking more generic book and not specific fandom, first of all, go to Pinterest. That's where the good shit is. I probably recommend things like book stacks, or even like the outline. I even have a little outline of a book on my wrist. There we go. Isn't she cute? Or if you wanted like a watercolor, you could get kind of like the suggestion of a book, you know, like a Rorschach test for other bookworms. I also got quite a few people saying, how do you plan your sleeve? Or like, how did you plan your placement? And I'm so glad that all of you have such faith in me that I planned any of this ahead of time. All of you are so nice. You're like, it looks so aesthetic. You're so cohesive. And like, thank you so much, because I just said, I want that. Put it on me with no regard to how anything else was going to fit. This arm in particular, I've said, is my like whatever the fuck arm. And it's just turned out the way it's turned out. And actually, I might get some stuff on this arm covered. My legs, those were a complete fluke. I'm so glad that patchwork came out nice. I guess there's 3 ways to plan getting tattoos. Number 1 is to like take a picture of your body, either print it out or like get it on your iPad or something, and then like draw out tattoos that you want on it. Or even just keep a list of like, you know, oh, I want an arm sleeve and I know I want this particular piece and it might look good here or here. Second thing would be, if you're talking to an artist about getting a piece, have them recommend where they think it would fit best. Because like sometimes they'll say, oh, the curve of this will fit better on a shoulder instead of on your arm. Or they might try and move it and say, if you want to build around it, it would be better to have it here instead of more slightly up. Like, they're the experts, they know people's bodies. And number 3 is just complete chaos. Go feral, slap stuff wherever you want, figure it out later. This method is the most fun, but it's also the most difficult in hindsight, because often you'll just get something somewhere because you're like, yeah, that's fun, that's fine, that's fresh and flirty and cool and quirky. And then later you're like, oh, damn, I wish I had saved that part for, let's say, a flat tattoo instead of something else. Ooh, my favorite artists in Vancouver. Okay, how much time do you have? Number 1 is Emily, aka Art Scab. I have a bunch of tattoos by her. She's awesome. I would highly recommend her stuff, but she does book like a year or 2 in advance. I'd also recommend Devin, aka Ink After Grace. I have only 1 tattoo by her, but I want to get so many more. She's so cool. We chatted. We'll see what happens in the future. If you want something a little darker, a little witchier, I'd say Brandy from She Wolf Tattoo. She's done a couple of mine. So great, so fast. She's a tattooist, an artist, a painter, and her aesthetic is just it's so good. Also, Alyssa, aka Allie Brooke Art. She did both of my shins, and oh my god, I do not regret them a single bit. Plus, she's so cool. Reasonable rates, great conversationalist, love her. Allison Woodward, their designs are so whimsical and fun, and they're actually the person who did my Glendower jackalope tattoo that went viral on TikTok. They're a delight. You can trust them. Maybe they'll make you an internet celebrity. Number 3 is the personal category. These are questions particularly to me and my tattoos and like the stuff I've gone through. The first of which being if I've ever considered getting song lyrics or music tattoos of any kind, and if yes, then what? Girl, if I could get the entirety of the album Unreal Unearthed tattooed onto me, I would. There are a lot of songs I really like. There's a couple lyrics that I think are really beautiful, but I think I prefer the more structured sentences of books rather than songs. But if I ever did get a song lyric tattoo, it would definitely be from Hosier. Did you have any negative physical reactions to the tattooing process? And yes, thankfully I've never like thrown up or passed out, but I sometimes, and I don't know why it happens on certain times and not others, but I'll get really shaky. It's an adrenaline reaction, but I remember specifically for one of the pieces on this arm, I was like vibrating, and then I would have to like take a deep breath and be like, I'd like tense my whole body so that the artist could do a couple lines, and then I'd relax again and then just relax into getting shaky. It was very weird. But again, it makes sense. You're actively getting stabbed and your body is like, what the fuck is going on? But overall, I find I can sit pretty well. I'm not super twitchy. In hindsight, which tattoo would you do differently? Besides my Kibi sword tattoo, probably my little undead deer on the side of my leg. He's cool and all. His name is Ichabod. He's one of the first tattoos I ever got. I think he was my third. And I don't necessarily regret him, but I do regret going to the artist that I did to get him. I actually won this in a tattoo giveaway that this artist was doing, and I should have thought about if the concept matched the artist's vibe, which it really didn't. This artist specialized in flowers and like butterflies and moths, and I actually have a moth from her that I love, but this was just not her style. She didn't really know how to draw it, and it came out okay. I'll probably get him touched up at some point because I like the idea of him, but he's just not quite right. What is your least favorite type of tattoo style? Realism. Particularly realism when it comes to people. And I'm not knocking artists who do realism tattoos, because the way that you need to be able to eye proportion and shading is truly a skill that I feel like only God can give. And yes, I know it's very common for people to get like deceased loved ones portraits done. I'm not necessarily talking about them, though I am kind of a little bit. It's so weird, especially when it's like celebrities. Like, why is Lenny Kravitz looking at me from your bicep? Why in the world do you have a I Love Lucy tattoo on your thigh that's just giving me that creepy Crest Ultra white strip smile? Did they even have? I don't think they even had that in the 50s. Giving that Hollywood veneer smile, whatever. It's just like, why do you have a face on a place where there shouldn't be a face? Similar question. Do you judge people based on their tattoos? No, not at all. Girl, what do you want me to say? Of course I do. Everybody does. You got a 9-inch full color thigh tattoo of Kermit the Frog from the Muppets wearing like a suit of armor and slaying a dragon that looks like Gwyneth Paltrow. Honestly, slay. Look, we get judged on our appearances all the time by everybody. We go out in public, someone's gonna look at us and make a snap judgment. A lot of the time when I see people with tattoos, I'm like, oh damn, they got tattoos. They're probably cool. But every once in a while, I meet some people and I'm like, that's what you decided to put permanently on your body. Interesting. But I never say it to their face. And I think that's a lesson that a lot of people could stand to learn. Because people could say the same thing about me, right? They're like, really? You decided to spend that much money getting those things put on you? Like, why? And I could be like, I don't know. I had money and I was bored and I wanted to look cool. And hey, we all have bad days. And sometimes we have bad days with $200. But also, like, who cares? If that's something that you have on you and it makes you happy and it's something that like you love seeing on you every day, just like I say for other things, like these are my tattoos, I'm the person who paid for them and designed them and has to look at them all the time. And if they make you happy, then like, who gives a fuck? Have you always had a vision or a theme for your tattoos, and has it evolved over the years? Yes and no. I've definitely always wanted to be more patchwork. Like I've always wanted to have a lot of little tattoos kind of all together. And I've always wanted to have florals. That was my main thing. And then of course, just being bookish. You knew that I had to sneak on somehow. But when I started getting tattoos, my vision of that was to like fill my skin as fast as I could, hence why some of the placements of stuff are like a little weird. And now, in my old age, looking back, I think if I had started getting tattoos now at 28, I definitely would go more simplistic, and I definitely would have left certain spaces open for specific things. But overall, I feel like I still have a similar aesthetic appreciation for that kind of delicate line work, florals and book stuff and weaponry. And of course, I got asked quite a bit about future tattoo plans. Funny you should mention that. I just impulse booked my maybe first back tattoo in a couple of weeks. I'm not having an existential crisis. You're having an existential crisis. Depending on size, we might put it on my arm instead. But I'm kind of hoping that maybe we'll do a shoulder blade. I don't know how crazy we'll get. And I'm not going to tell any of you what it is. Ooh, you're just going to follow me on Instagram to find out what I get. And category number 4 are the silly goose moments. And these are specifically from my friends who got all up in my Instagram mentions and have left me troll questions that I will answer seriously. Hey, if you guys didn't want to be blasted on the internet, then you probably shouldn't have said anything. Number 1, from my friend Zoe, What tattoo of yours reminds you most of me, your bestest friend? My thigh Luna Moth Calliope, because of the significance of her name. Actually, this isn't one of the first people I ever knew who started getting tattoos, and I loved the way that hers looked. She has a beautiful, like, fantasy sleeve, and they're very whimsical and lovely. Will you ever get a face tattoo? And if so, of what? Actually, yeah, Nate, I'm thinking about getting a tiny portrait of you and your girlfriend on either one of my cheeks. I would like to make it clear that both Nate and his girlfriend are close personal friends of mine. No, I do not ever plan on getting a face tattoo, although I have seen this one girl. Okay, this is like another example of something that like I love, but I would never get. I saw somebody get a UV tattoo of a dagger, like a fantasy dagger on the side of their face. So when it healed, you couldn't see that they had a tattoo, and then they went into a club that had black light and they had like a big face tattoo. It was so cool. And lastly, which one of your tattoos would make for the best enemies to lovers arc? See, I want to think my friends know me well, but apparently you don't, because if you did, you would know already that I literally have enemies to lovers on my body already. I have 2 moths on the back of my thighs that I have named after, oh no, my backs of my calves. Do I even know where my tattoos are? I have 2 moths on the backs of my calves that are named Laszlo and Sarai after the enemies to lovers duo that is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I've reached peak bookworm. I literally have enemies to lovers tattooed on me. These were done by 2 different artists, but the one on the left is Laszlo and the one on the right is Sarai. Actually, now that I think about it, they're less enemies and more star-crossed lovers. Shit. Oh no, now I have to rethink my whole personality. And I think that is that on that. Thank you all for joining me this evening as we go over some of your burning tattoo cues. I was debating doing this like long form on TikTok or something, just because so many people are asking me stuff on there, but I felt like one video just overall is good. We're just gonna get that out of the way. I don't have to do another one of these for another year. People that actually want to stick around probably are on YouTube, because people on TikTok, they're asking me the same 3 questions over and over again, and I'm just like, if you scroll down like just a little bit, please just use just a tiny bit of all of that cognitive development that's gone on for millions of years. Please, I beg you. I know I promised you this video last week, so thank you all for waiting on me as I pushed it another week, because life is like that sometimes. Like I said on my last video, I vastly, grossly overbooked myself for November, hence why we are filming at night. But I can see the free time at the end of the tunnel, and oh boy, am I looking forward to it. If you have any more burning tattoo questions, leave them down below. I will try my best to answer them. Also, please leave down below if you have any recommendations or advice for people as well, maybe on the bookish tattoo front, maybe on the like placement front. Let me know if you have a back tattoo. How'd that go for you? All that being said, I'm now going to log off and promptly go to bed. You know where to click to like the video. You know where to click to subscribe. I hope you guys are all having a nice day or night wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!